Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to Yasmin Collects, and welcome if you are new. Welcome to my first ever retro PC themed video. I'm very excited. I picked up this Sony Vaio all-in-one machine at the thrift store. I paid $16 for it, and today we are going to look at it, test it, because I actually have no idea if this thing works. And we're just gonna have a fun little chit chat about the unit, and hopefully it's fun, and I'm hoping that I learned some things along the way. I have always had an interest in retro PCs. I tend to cover VHS and VCRs the most on this channel, since that's the thing that I actually have some functional knowledge about, and I enjoy working on them. I've always been interested in PCs, but it's not something I really did anything with or know anything about, so we're gonna kind of be learning together. This is a really cool, unique machine though, so even if we can't get it booted, I think it's still going to be fun to take a look at. I will let you guys know also, Action Retro, which is another YouTube channel here on the platform, has already done a pretty extensive video covering this model. He gets a little bit more in depth on the interior and also the history of the unit, so I'm not going to repeat all of the things that he shared in that video, but I will link it in my description box down below if you're interested in that. This is an all-in-one PC that was manufactured in Japan, and as far as I can tell, this is much more of a Japanese marketed type of machine. It is quite small and compact, and also referenced it as a TV as well as a home computer, so it was sort of designed for a smaller apartment in like Japan, for example, and this could be your TV and your home computer. It's not a laptop, although it kind of does look like one, but it's got this keyboard that kind of flips up and does its thing. Although this one is sort of not in the greatest of condition. I think it probably needs a little bit of like grease to help that part out. It runs a Windows XP Home Edition. It has a Pentium 4. I'm excited, also nervous, because I don't know if this thing is going to work like I mentioned. There are a couple of concerns that I have in terms of if it's going to work, but we're gonna get into that quite shortly. Also, I'm quite annoyed that I have fake nails on right now, because I was working on another piece of tech a couple days ago, and it was really making my life difficult with like getting the screws out and stuff, and I actually lost a nail in the process. So Godspeed. I know this is not appropriate for working on a PC, but we're gonna do this. Let's take a peek at what we have feature-wise. That noise you're hearing, by the way, that clicking noise, is my rabbit drinking water. So, turning this unit over a little bit so you guys can take a look at the ports. All of the ports are located on this side. We have a DVD-ROM port here, and then quite a few things. We have a PC card, S-video, little microphone jack there. This would be for like your mouse or your keyboard. There's USB inputs, Ethernet cable. I literally have the bare minimum knowledge of retro PCs, but I feel like I don't usually see like, you know, inputs for like a TV or something, which is kind of cool. I might want to hook it up to my CRT and see if it'll give us a picture, but you know, let's not get too ahead of ourselves because we don't even know if the unit works. Here is the back of it. It's a little bit dirty. I need to do some cleaning, but there's, you know, the Sony Vaio video audio integrated operation. Woohoo. And then the other side of the unit here has nothing for us. It's just a port for the fan. And screen brightness controls and a memory stick. Check out this little thing right here. Press buttons on side to fold keyboard. If you fold the keyboard, it kind of ends up looking like a TV, which is sort of cool. And speaking of keyboard, we have a pretty funky looking keyboard. The keys are not very raised, so well, ASMR for you guys. Kind of reminds me of like a laptop sort of thing. Haven't really obviously done any typing on this, but you have like your F keys up here, delete key, so a little circle up here. Got a number pad. This is like, I think this is for the disk drives. Here is the top of the unit. Something that had me feeling a little bit concerned was that the casing here on top was gone by the time I got to it at the thrift store. Watching Action Retro's video, it seems like this cover wasn't actually like very well fitted for the casing. Like it kind of always looked like it was gonna fall off. So I'm hoping that it just fell off and it wasn't like somebody ripping it off or trying to like get to the internals, because like these little cables here I don't really think are supposed to be poking out like that. I haven't opened up the unit, but I can see some of the capacitors just from here, and they look good, right? Those look like some pretty decent capacitors. Nothing's leaking or blown up or anything like that, so that's nice. You got some more caps down there. We are going to open up the back of the unit though, but this is the thing that's making me nervous. I haven't plugged it in yet because I wanted to do it on camera. Another thing that I'm kind of hoping doesn't come back to bite me is the power supply that came with it. So I actually paid separately for the power supply. Like there was a price tag on the power supply and then on the unit, but the power supply was plugged into the computer. So I am a little bit concerned that someone just found this one and assumed that it was correct. I know that people at thrift stores probably don't have high level knowledge of like retro PCs or tech in general, but I do wish that if something was donated with a cord that they kind of just like made sure that they kept it together, because I recently got burned in one of my other videos. I talked about this Barbie Sing With Me karaoke machine that's sitting up there, and the seller that I purchased it from on Mercari sent me the incorrect power brick, and me being the naive little gumdrop that I am, didn't think to check, and I ended up blowing it, and I still need to work on the corrosion in the battery casing. If you guys want to see that video, I'll link it in the description, but basically I got burned by this, quite literally, and now I'm a little bit more paranoid about power supplies than I used to be. I did make a community tab post about this though, and you guys seem to say that it should be okay. It seems like somebody was trying to get into this thing at some point, either before or after donation, because one of the little clips that holds the casing is gone. We just have two here, and there's also some screws I need to remove. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the hard drive isn't in here. Let's see. Somebody was definitely trying to do something because we're missing a screw down here. I just removed these two screws here. And then this might just be because of like the design that the screen is attached to the casing, but this plastic supporting the screw's gone. But this one is still intact, so I need to remove this. You guys, I called it. I was so right. Missing hard drive. There's no hard drive in here. There's the plug, so I'm gonna need to get a hard drive, if assuming that this thing is not like completely dead. I would think that probably the previous owner would do that, which honestly fair, but there's no hard drive. Power supply is back there. I really want to test it, but also like it's pretty far back there. Here, I don't know what this is actually. I know this is memory. In fact, I think it might be missing memory too, because I think if watching Action Retro's video, the memory would be right here. It's quite dirty too. It needs a cleaning, so I am gonna run some compressed air over it. But here is the back of the unit, sans hard drive. I'm not sure what these prong clips held. I think this has to be memory, right? Because there definitely should be something attached to them, and I think we're lacking some sort of card in here. That's kind of a bummer. All right, I think that is enough playing around with the internals. Since there's no hard drive, and I don't know what that is for sure, like I said, but I think memory, I'm not as concerned about a bad power supply causing problems because there's nothing in there to fry really. Maybe that's wrong, but at least there's no hard drive, right? So I'm gonna plug this in. I am like so scared to plug this in because I'm honestly going to be devastated if it doesn't work. But I feel like the owner had to have checked it to see if it worked, and it did, because whoever pried that casing open and like ripped out that hard drive was not being very kind and not taking their time. So I'm assuming that this thing turns on. If it tells me no hard drive or no memory or whatever it's gonna tell me, I would be absolutely ecstatic. So I'm gonna plug this bad boy in to a surge protector so we're safe and not burning my house down. All right, the moment of truth. Those beeps are scaring me, to be honest. But it powered on. We hear fans, so there's no power supply issue. Okay, I feel like a dummy, but it's okay. I'm learning. The reason why it's not booting up with a scream is because there's no frickin' RAM in it. At least I'm like 90% sure that there's no RAM in this computer. So, or at least it powers on, which is great, but it needs RAM at least. I think I could probably install an operating system on a USB disk or USB drive. So I wouldn't have to have a hard drive, but I would like to have one, obviously. So it seems like for now, we are not going to be able to get this Sony Vaio to boot up, but the inside looks good. The capacitors, from what I can see, look good. It just needs, you know, those important things. So for $16, I'm not mad at it. I'm gonna have to figure out a way, or, you know, learn the informational specs on how to get the replacement parts for this, or something to actually get it to boot up. I have a couple updates for you guys. So first of all, one of my coworkers was kind enough to help me out with this project and help me figure out some of the specific specs for this. So as Action Retro also says, this takes an 80 gigabyte hard drive, 256 megabytes of RAM, which it also supports a maximum 1 gigabyte of RAM. And in order to access the BIOS, when I get some RAM and a hard drive in there, it'll be F2. I was also able to find some cool things from the Sony Japan website. It looks like they still have some Flash created imagery to showcase the computer and what it does and all of that stuff. So the next step is going to be purchasing these things. Obviously, as I've mentioned, this is quite new to me. I've never purchased computer parts before. So my first thought is eBay. My second thought is to stay as far away from Amazon as humanly possible. I also want to pop this picture back in of these like little white cable clip thingies where I believe the RAM goes. They just look kind of weird. I'm gonna put this picture side by side with Action Retro's video. I don't know if like something needs to be unclipped, or I don't know. I need to watch more videos about how to install RAM and all of that stuff. But I just wanted you guys to see that as well, because it looked a little funky, and I think it's probably just because something was ripped out. But figured I'd insert the picture just in case there's damage. I really hope there isn't, but that's my anecdote for now. I'm also going to just insert a screen recording of some of this Japanese stuff because it's really, really cool. But yeah, if you like this video, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, Yasmin Collects. I do a lot of retro techie stuff. I'm just now getting into computers, so this is newer for me, but this was a lot of fun. Even though it isn't booting up yet, I'm confident that it is not unsavable. I think this is probably just a case of an owner donating this, and before doing so wanted to, probably booted it up, saw that it booted up, maybe they like forgot the password and couldn't get in, so their solution was to rip out the RAM and the hard drive, which totally, you know, makes sense. So yeah, stay tuned for an update on this Sony Vaio, and also subscribe for other fun techie videos on my YouTube channel. I don't really even know how to describe what I do anymore because I do a lot of different stuff. Just check out my videos, see if it's your cup of tea, and please feel free to leave your thoughts, opinions, questions, concerns, comments in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.